Hi everyone! We have finished the video on the basic ideas of English opening with the interesting exercise, and in this video we're going to discuss the solution. So the question was, if it is possible in the position that you can see on the board for white to take the pawn on e5, is it good or bad for white, and in general what is the evaluation and what are the best moves for both sides starting from this position? So, knight takes e5 is not wrong at all. And the thing is, it's not about even some problems with the b3 or c2 squares that can make this knight takes e5 dangerous for white. In fact, what is potentially not correct with white's pieces placement here is the weakened diagonal h8, a1, and this vulnerability of the knight on c3 and e5 in particular. So in this position, black may continue with the bishop to f6 move, attacking the knight. And at very first glance, it's already a big problem for white because the knight doesn't have a suitable square to go away. As you may notice, for example, c4 is controlled twice, so if knight goes there, black may just capture it twice. Other squares are under control, and something like knight f3 will be just a completely wrong decision, because if knight takes f3 with check, and if white recaptures, then black just takes the knight on c3, winning the piece and winning the game, because there is no compensation whatsoever. It means that after bishop to f6 move, white has to protect the knight somehow. And here comes the other problem. So if you choose something natural like bishop to f4, protecting the knight and developing the bishop simultaneously, black may continue with the g5 move, attacking the bishop, and it appears that bishop doesn't have a good square to go away, simultaneously keeping the knight on e5 protected. So white is literally forced here to sacrifice some material, which is probably not that great. So what we have here is the f4 move, supporting the knight. And at very first glance, it solves the problem and gives white just extra pawn. But here comes another problem. So we have discussed the vulnerability of the knight on c3 already. Now after f4, we can notice that the king is not that safe because diagonal a7, g1 was weakened. So black may try to use it with the help of knight to b3 jump, attacking the rook on a1, simultaneously creating a threat of queen to d4. So for example, if white tries to save the rook, then black has this check, queen to d4, and after white deals with it somehow, black just captures the knight on the next move. That's the problem. So knight to b3 is literally the double attack. This should be good enough to say that, well, probably knight e5 was not correct, but appears that after something like bishop to e3 move, covering d4 and literally forcing black to capture the rook, otherwise white is just a pawn up and ready to go away with the rook from a1 somewhere, let's say to b1. So knight takes a1 wins the exchange for black, but white already has a pawn as a material compensation, and appears that the position is not so simple for black to play, because, you know, this one is still pretty closed, which is not that great for rooks, because rooks need open files. Only in that case, rook can be efficient and can be considered a better piece compared to the minor piece. In this particular case, we can see that, well, position is pretty much closed. We can see that there is only one open file that can be somehow used. It is the C file, which is open for white, not for black. So for a long time here, black will have problems with activating rooks. White will have this typical English opening pressure along the long diagonal h1, a8, so bishop is very active. At the moment there is the knight on d5, but imagine there is no knight there. There will be a constant problem with b7 and potentially with something that will be weakened because of that pressure. And in addition to the pawn that we have mentioned already, white will have a complete compensation for missing exchange. It doesn't make this position better for white, but neither does it this better for black, which means that everything is more or less balanced here, which also means that knight e5 was a possibility for white. And it's just a question of taste. So if you want to sacrifice an exchange and play something like this, which is not very standard, you can try it. If you don't want to do that, you're playing with white pieces, you just continue with the normal development, bishop b2, that we have discussed in the video I have mentioned at the very beginning. So the answer is knight takes e5 is a valid option. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you really liked our content. See you.